George Miller already made Fury Road, so to be able to match that experience and the epic that is quite a task, and for some people, this succeeded at that. Hello everyone, my name is Aaron James. This review of the movie Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, written by George Miller and Nico Latouris, directed by George Miller. This is a prequel to one of the greatest modern odysseys, Mad Max Fury Road, where we follow Furiosa and pretty much follow a lot or most of her life, and from her childhood when she gets taken from where she's from, gets kidnapped, and then seeks revenge on Dementis, who took her away from her family and took her family away in some way, some aspect. Anya Taylor-Joy plays Furiosa, our lead, and she gives her best Charlize Theron voice or accent, which kind of hurt me because it felt like she was straining her voice a bit. She did not get many lines, and I appreciate George Miller for not really overindulging us with so much dialogue, especially in the first chapter of this movie. Oh, by the way, this movie is split into chapters, and I think it's the most episodic of all the Mad Max movies. I think this movie has the most lore in it than any other Mad Max movie, and I think it does the most world building than any other Mad Max movie, which I really very much appreciate, because I think Mad Max is one of the greatest, again, odysseys, modern odysseys that we've seen. I mean, aside from maybe Lord of the Rings. This is probably the most detailed story. There is a lot of story here. I would argue too much story for a 2.5-hour movie. I do remember seeing the trailers, and I was already concerned because this is the first Mad Max movie to have so much CGI and special effects. And I was kind of concerned because I really liked how Fury Road looked. And then on top of that, I felt that there was already a lot of story just from watching the trailer. And I expressed my concern that the issue with this movie might be that there's too much story. Funny enough, the story was much better than the movie, if that makes sense. And that's not to say the movie is bad. I just was so invested in the story. It could have been put into a novel, of a really thick novel. I would have read it. I believe it is a graphic novel. Y'all can check me on that. This movie could have gone on for 3+ hours, and I think I would have enjoyed it a bit more because of how much story there was. But there were so many scenes or moments that we kind of cut, and I feel like we miss 5 to 10 minutes. In some cases, we miss longer than that, but those are time jumps. But there are moments where we miss 5 to 10 minutes, and I felt cheated out of it for a moment. I was very much intrigued on the characters, the choices they made, and how we go into a direction that maybe is not common. George Miller is very innovative with his action sequences. I don't think we ever got one that matches the energy of Fury Road, but he had a couple really good ones. The first chapter is probably my favorite one, not just because of the minimal dialogue, but the way our character, the woman who plays her mother, is going out to save her, and just the action and the pacing was so smooth and just went by so quickly, and I was just very much into it, and it was just pulling me in more and more. So when we move on forward, I was already in this world. I was committed, and I was like, here, let's go. Let's get to this. Overall, I was very impressed with how Miller was able to expand on this very bleak dystopian world. Although I was upset to hear that Charlize Theron was considered to play the lead again, to play Furiosa, and she was just going to be de-aged. I do not think it was necessary to de-age her. I think considering there were 3 different actors playing Furiosa throughout this, they could have thrown her at the end because it ties almost directly into Fury Road. I do have some issues with the things that they were cutting out, because we do know that if you've seen Fury Road, Furiosa, one of the things that's very, I would say, iconic to her character is a robotic arm. We do not really see her losing her arm, at least not on screen. We get a hint of it before and we see it after, but we do not see it, and I feel like we were cheated on that. Also, it was a convenience that she was found in the desert. I'm not going to spoil too much of that, but there were some things I had questions about that I would have rather seen. We do have a reenactment at the ending of the movie of Fury Road, or a part of Fury Road, and then the credits show actual clips from the movie Mad Max Fury Road. And I felt conflicted because I was reminded, oh yeah, Fury Road is a much better movie. And that's not to discredit this movie because it's just difficult to match Fury Road. There was a bar set by that movie that is hard to match. Furiosa is a fun movie. It's entertaining. I don't think it's as impactful to me as it seems to be for a lot of other people. I did not care for Chris Hemsworth as Dementis, as our lead or antagonist. I would have rather seen Dementis actually taking action and doing the cruel things that he was telling other people to do. I think it would have added to how brutal and cruel that he is because he mostly just gives demands of what bad things to do, but we don't see it. Also, for it being an R-rated movie, I felt like George Miller was looking away from a lot of the violent scenes. I feel like we were having to imagine a lot of it, and maybe that's a good thing, but I would have liked to see it. But when it comes to the clips at the end of the credits or during the credits of Fury Road, maybe it was to encourage people to go watch it because after watching Furiosa, because I loved the story so much, I was thinking this feels very much like a setup to the climactic moment that is Fury Road, and I'd be down to watch Fury Road right after this. I think Furiosa would have had a greater impact if it came out first because we are comparing it to Fury Road, even if we try not to. And considering this is a prequel, so maybe it shouldn't be as good, but also I would expect it. I don't know. I feel weird about it. I think Furiosa is worth watching in theaters, and I think it's worth supporting. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road, I think barely broke even, if that. I'm pretty sure they still flopped. So this movie doing the way it is not unexpected or surprising, especially coming post-COVID. Anya Taylor-Joy is a good performer. I liked her as Furiosa. I think that there were just some missed moments in this movie. Still, I'm down to watch it again. I will let it settle a bit more before I really decide whether it will or will not make my top of the half of the year, the first half of the year. Until next time, y'all take care of each other, check up on one another, make sure you check up on yourself, and remember, potential has no limit.